And when I stopped running so much and started walking, I actually did that in my personal life with things. So the way I was working out actually was uncovering how I responded to things in my life. Like, I actually was running from my problems, not just physically running. I've been running from my problems for over 12 years. I was running from my problems. So like, she's a runner, she's a track star. That was me. That was me. I was running since I was 12, physically running, mentally and emotionally, which is crazy to say, but so true, right? Of all of us, we're like running away from our problems. But I actually was a runner. I started when I was losing weight around 11 years old. I was like, honestly, actually just kidding. I want to say around 10 years old. I was running with the handlebars on my treadmill, and I slowly got into running when I was around 10, 11. And I was running in middle school, high school, middle school, started high school, and I really stopped at age 23, 24. I was not just physically running for my body, right? So when I first started running, it was first an avenue to lose weight and get healthy. It was a quick way to burn calories. It was just to develop and craft. And honestly, yeah, I shed weight. I shedded weight and it allowed me to just burn off energy. And I liked the character it was building in me. But after some time, I do think that it just became, in a good way, it did become more of my routine and more of like something that kept me healthy, and I kept at it. And I ran on my own. I would jog on my own until around like 8th, 9th grade. That's kind of when I wanted to dabble into running outside. So I did start running outside in my neighborhood early in the morning, like 5 or 6. Running for me was just my way of staying healthy. And I did enjoy it until I loved it. It was my time, honestly. I would like listen to worship music in the morning. It was great. And then I felt like there was a period of my time, I think 9th grade, 10th grade, I was like, I really want to run with other people. I felt like kind of crazy running on my own all the time. You just want company. So I joined track. And I just remember like finally feeling the freedom of having people who loved what I did. I didn't feel scared anymore. I didn't feel like crazy anymore for running. Like, all these people were just as crazy about running. It really does push you in so many ways. Like in my book that I wrote, which I don't know if I'm making it public right now, but I did talk about very dark experiences with running and competing. For me, it was really just not for me competing. I love to run, and I love to run with people. I didn't want to compete with them. I never liked competition in that way, especially when it comes to like just like growing up with numbers and like losing weight and like calorie counting. I didn't want running to add on to that, but it did. And running became another thing that was very consuming. And I became more of a perfectionist, and I was a long distance runner on the team. And I just remember like more miles meant more calories burned, meant slimmer figure. So, this was when I was like kind of losing weight, a lot of weight. And I actually already lost the weight, so I was very thin by that point. But it was just tough at that time because I was so demented in my thinking and like so deep into being thin and like eating disorder mentality and all that stuff. And I became like very obsessed with exercising during that time. So that's what running was for me. It was my way to 1, lose weight, 2, to have a sense of control, 3, to feel good. But it was not mentally serving me in a healthy way. I could say that for sure. It was just keeping me in a pattern of control. And like, as long as I get a run in, I'm good for the day. Like, that's all. And that's the problem. For me, it was all consuming, all about numbers, all about like calories, all about the distance. And if I didn't run, I wasn't good that day. Like, that's how my mind was. So I'm sharing that to tell you, like, my journey with running do not apply to you. So if don't use this as an excuse not to run or do cardio. I'm sharing my story with it and how I just used it in an unhealthy way until I reframed it to become healthy. So in high school, I used it up until senior year. I just couldn't run like that anymore. I was done. I was tired. I felt so bad about myself that I couldn't be as fast as these other girls who had running in their genes. And there's no Indian runner in my family, in my generations of family, no women who built that in my DNA. And I was just working so hard and not seeing results. And I'm like, this can't be it. I was working way too hard, being too hard on myself. And so I pivoted, and I told my coaches, like, hey, I just can't do this anymore. It was for health reasons too. My body was just breaking down, and I'm like, I can't jeopardize my health anymore. I was in a season, like my senior year of high school was like me transitioning, and I wanted to just relax a little and enjoy high school and not focus about weight loss and exercise and calories. Like, senior year was my turning point. I still was very health conscious, but I wasn't, like the anxiety around it wasn't there. So finally, I actually like did a 5K on my own in senior year, and it was really beautiful because I won the race. It was at a park, and I won the race, and it was just I just felt like God was winking at me because I needed that win. I was losing all of these races during track because all these girls were so fast and they ran for so long, so fast, and I'm like, my body was so tired, it wouldn't move faster than a certain limit, and I kept getting lapped at these races. I'm like, why am I here? And so that was my experience in high school. And then after in college, running just again was to stay fit. It wasn't more so, sometimes it was a mental relief, but a lot of it was to stay fit. And when I was in high school, I was dealing with a lot of emotional like turmoil. So running for me was my biggest escape. I could escape from all the emotions I was dealing with, all the feelings of unworthiness, of not being good enough, of anger towards everybody, like the anger I had. Anytime I was like mad at my mom, I like ran. Like it was just for me sometimes a very unhealthy expression, and a passive anger route. Like I was getting all my emotions out in running, and because I was releasing it there, I would never address the problem, because when I ran it off, it'd be gone. But then I'd come back and the problem was still there. That's where I'm kind of going with this. So then in college, running also became a way for me to release my stress, release my emotions when I had like issues with people. Up until going into COVID, I want to say running was starting to change because it was less about like routines. I was running still like around 4 or 5 days a week. In 2023, I stopped like running a lot because I think I got sick. I got like sick for some time. I remember getting sick and then not being able to run. And then I just found new ways for cardio too during COVID. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I changed up my cardio and I was running, but not as much. And I was doing HIIT, more weightlifting, like things like that. And then in 2023, I went away to Indiana for a week for my residency program, and I couldn't really run there, but this is what's so interesting. So it was the first time I realized I ran out of a way to stay isolated, if that makes sense. So I felt isolated a lot. I didn't have much community with like-minded people growing up. And so I remember when I went to Indiana and the days were packed. We were with people the whole day in classes and even meals, all that stuff. And then by the time we were all done, I didn't feel the need to run. Like, I had a great day. I had no emotions I needed to process. I talked to a lot of people. I learned from them. And I felt full emotionally, if that makes sense, that I didn't need to run any of that off. I don't know if this is hitting or making sense to you. Essentially, running was kind of my way, like lone wolf mentality. I love to run on my own. But when I was in Indiana, I was just like, I didn't have time to run, and I didn't give myself pressure about it. Like the old version of me who was like in high school, if I ever missed a day, if track ever like rescheduled and they said, okay, we're not running today, I'd run at home, I'd run outside. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, like a lot of my team members would be relieved. But then the really dedicated ones actually wouldn't like that either. But I was coming from a really deep, demented mentality, like I need to burn these calories kind of off. So I started to then make the connection of how I use running to further my sense of isolation, and so I had to rewire the way my brain thought of running. So more and more, as I got like more into my program and understanding like isolation versus like how like connection with people changes the way you do things, I did end up running less in general because my lifestyle was just changing and I didn't need to run that much. Also in 2023, I got into a motorcycle accident. For those who don't know, I was a motorcyclist, here's the picture, for like a small season of my life. It was a phase. I don't regret it because I go after what I want, and I showed myself that I will go after what I want, even if it costs $5,000. It was worth it because I'm worth the investment of myself and my monies. But it was more just me kind of showing myself like, whenever I'm attracted to something, it's so funny. I used to be like so attracted to things like motorcyclists, bandanas, and like guys who wore these things, did these things. And like anytime I was attracted to a guy because of something, I'd become the thing. So I became the motorcyclist that I was so attracted to. And guess what? I didn't really like it that much. And it just was, it was not for me in New York. So I got into an accident by myself. Like I didn't kill anybody or hit anybody. I was just driving, and then I made a turn, and then I skid, and then it was the first time I cried from physical pain after, or I can't even remember the last time that happened. And it was because I felt like I was so weak, like my bones felt weak, like when I fell, like my whole body had the impact of the fall. And I just like didn't feel safe riding it for a couple of weeks, and then finally I ended up selling the bike. That's a whole other story. I did enjoy it, but I was more scared than enjoy it. It didn't seem like it was coming from a genuine place. I was just curious about trying that lifestyle, and now I have a car, so a beautiful car. So then that knee injury also like really impacted my ability to run, and so I just started running less and I began walking more. So when I started walking more, it was so freeing because when I ran, it was like I would run and listen to music that just fueled a really unproductive side of me, like fantasy thinking, or just like if I'm mad at someone or something, I would just replay the scenario in my head, listen to angry music, sad music, emotional music. It was just like escaping, and I'm like, how I just can't believe how many hours I wasted doing that. Hours and hours and hours doing that. And the amount of headphones I have like over 50 pairs of headphones, because anytime I would lose one, I'd go frantic and I'd look for another one and I'd buy another one on the spot. And that's how deep I was with escaping in exercise. Like it was my biggest kind of hit. I don't know if it's dopamine. It was more coming from like a controlling kind of like jittery feeling, as opposed to like, this feels good. It was like, I need to be in control. Not that this feels good, it's making me happy, if that makes sense. So yeah, slowly I started to undo what I thought running was for me, and I started to realize that I wasn't running for healthy reasons for a very long time. Maybe for some short periods. There were some days, obviously, some days I ran and I loved it, I felt good and I had a good day, and I honored those days, but majority of the way I approached running wasn't healthy. I still do run today, just maybe twice a week, not even sometimes, but I don't count really anymore. I don't count my mileage. I don't track my timing anymore. And I'm not gonna lie, I obviously lost a lot of endurance, but it was worth the cost of my freedom. I'm like so much more mentally free than I was when I was so obsessed with just working out and running in that way. Again, too, like working out is a whole other video. I just don't work out as much as I did before, and I'm gonna be honest, my body didn't change that drastically. Like, sure, I did gain a little bit more weight, but my shape and figure, honestly, I like it better now than it was before. Because I think when I do work out, I'm more strategic about my workouts. I'm not just doing anything. But it's just, it's so free when you know how to exercise properly to nourish yourself, as opposed to punishing yourself, as opposed to for an end goal. I think running for me, it's been the best when I get to worship, but I listen to worship music and I just get to enjoy nature, or I just need a quick pump. Other than that, like I just started walking more and like really just taking in nature more and pausing and reflecting and slowing down. And on my walks, I recorded so much of my book. Like I would voice type it. and then I would transfer it into Google Docs, and I can't talk when I'm running. So I really tried just slowing down. And when I stopped running so much and started walking, I actually did that in my personal life with things. So the way I was working out actually was uncovering how I responded to things in my life. Like, I actually was running from my problems, not just physically running. I've been running from my problems for over 12 years. I was running from my problems. So like, she's a runner, she's a track star. That was me. I was the track star. Not a really good track star, but I was a track star because I was running all the time. And I think your behaviors tell you so much more about you than you realize. Like, the little behaviors. Yeah, so where I am now with running, like, I run when I feel like it, when it's a nice day out, when I feel the energy to. Before, I used to just get so much anxiety if I couldn't get a run in, if I didn't do a run at a certain mile pace. Like, that was my life. And it became so dangerous. Like, I started to sometimes loathe it. And now I honestly, like, I see the benefits of it, but I don't want to be a distance runner anymore. I don't want to be the girl that's the running girl anymore. That was a phase of my life that I did, and I learned what resilience looks like, what determination and persistence and pushing past the pain looks like. And it taught me things, and it built my character, and it taught me things that I needed now in my life, actually. Like, mentally, I needed mental fortitude. I needed mental strength to do the things that God has laid in front of me. And all that taught me things. Like, I don't regret anything. Even though they were trials, like, I went through things that taught me things and built me up to be the version that God wanted me to be, and God continually wants me to become. And running really did teach me a lot about being steady pace, keeping a steady pace in your life and staying in your lane. And just the beauty of, like, I didn't get sick. I get more sick now because I truly think because I stopped running as much. I also don't take vitamin C. But I really loved my journey with running, and I'm so glad that I was a runner, but I'm also so excited, and I love just walking. I love to walk too. I used to complain about walking all the time, and people would be like, oh, you walk so slow. I'm like, yeah, because I'm tired because I run so much. That's literally why I hated walking, because it just took too long, and I wanted to get places quicker and things done quickly, because that's how I operated in every area of my life. And God literally, the biggest thing was when I got my 2024 May. I sprained my rib, and I couldn't do anything for a month. I could not run for a month. And I just remember, like, God was breaking down all these things that I had of myself, my pride, the way that I went straight to, like, running and working out to just deal with everything, but I wasn't dealing with anything. And God really, like, rewired everything about my mind and how I approach things. And I had to learn how to sit with my emotions. I can't use exercise to deal with my emotions. I can use it to alleviate some of the pain, alleviate some of the effects of it, but I still got to deal with it. I still got to address it. I still got to confront some people. I still got to confront myself. And I'm sharing this because you might be doing something that's a habit of yours, a routine of yours that's preventing you from fully addressing what's real, right? You may be using it as an escape or somewhere to just go to feel better, but it's not really helping you in the area that you need to be helped in. It's just an escape. So for me, running was my escape, and I did, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran until I couldn't run anymore. And I had to face myself, and I had to face what I had to take care of, and I began healing. And running was a part of the healing journey. You can heal in the same places that hurt you. Like, I hurt myself when I was running. I felt like I was last, because I was last in my races, but I felt like I was just never, no matter how hard I practiced, I would do double runs, like in the morning and the evening when I was in cross country. I just was never good enough. I felt like that. And I had to undo all of that. And God walked me through it. It was a long journey. I started when I was 11. I stopped really, really running that way, I want to say, when I was around 24. So that's 13 years? 13, right? 12 or 13 years of, like, just running. And when I was around 11, 12, it's funny because that's when my problems started to exacerbate. Like, that's when I really started losing weight and I started to question my self-esteem and all those things. And exercise became the place and where all that anger, all the emotions just went to. And I never talked about it to the people that needed to hear that I was hurting, that I was in pain, that I was questioning my worth. So it took over a decade, but I slowly undid what society and what I thought was right for myself. But anyway, through all of that, it was a blessing because I took so much. My character grew. My character was refined. My character was tested. And I'm saying this because if there's any season in your life that you regret or you feel went in vain, there's no loss in trials. Because if you can take one good thing out of it, that's all you need. Life is full of trials. Life is full of obstacles. And it's your job and it's in your best interest to take the good from the pain, the good from the confusion, the good from what you didn't get. Because when you just take one good thing, it makes all the bad make sense. It makes a little less bad. So yeah, I don't want to make this a half hour, but it's almost a half hour and I'm tired. But this is just an honest talk. This is like not planned, not structured. I could have made a whole outline, but basically the gist was that running for me was an escape. I was running from my problems for so long, and God worked with me in my heart to really address why I was doing that and how I can change that. And I did. And now it's exercise for me, and running is completely different than it was before. And it's just like not my focus fully. I love it in certain days of the week, not every day. And I love that. I love that I finally broke free of that mentality of like gym, certain times, certain calories burned, certain workouts, like all that structure, like with working out, gone. I work out to feel good. I work out to nourish my body. I test my flexibility. I work on mobility, coordination, balance. I did, dial back on the endurance. And sometimes it sucks. Sometimes I'm running and I'm like puffing and I'm like, can't sustain it. And sometimes it is a hit in my ego and my pride because I'm like, I can't finish 2 miles. Like I said, admitting this to you, like I would run 8 miles easy before. And now I honestly need breaks after 1 mile. And that's okay. That's my life changed and my priorities changed. And I don't want to be the athlete like I was before because that was a version of me that wasn't healthy mentally. There are some athletes who can be healthy, but for me, it just didn't work out that way. And I don't want to be known as that person anymore because I'm not her anymore. So I hope that this just sheds some light into any area that you feel like you have to wear a mask and that you're holding on to this hobby or area of your life that you think is you, but it's not you. It's a version of you that you just thought you built up a version of you that deeply isn't fulfilling you. And there's something in your heart that's tugging at you saying that this isn't me. This is who I thought I wanted to be, but it's not giving me joy and peace the way that I want it to. And it's okay to take a step back and like ask yourself, ask God to show you like, where do I go from here? Who am I supposed to be and how do I get there? What's one step I can take to get to that place, to get to that person? All right, so I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. And I hope that this blessed you. I hope that this encouraged you. I will be talking more like this, like deep and honest and vulnerable. And I hope that you can take something from it. I pray you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, and God bless.